This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself.
Today we have a Samsung dryer that is no longer drying because the element finally broke, so we're going to be replacing the whole heating assembly. It comes with the element and also comes with a new high limit and also a new thermistor. So we're going to use a paint scraper. We got it unplugged first. We're going to use a paint scraper to push in on this clip on the right and left so we can lift up the top. You can see where those clips are. They're about probably 3 inches in from the right and left side. And once we get the top all the way up, we're going to go ahead and loosen up this connection for this modular connector.
So many of those.
Unclip that one. And we're going to take these wires out of these little clips that are holding them in position. And then we can go ahead and reach in and remove the connector for the door switch. I'm going to use a pair of pliers to help me wiggle that one loose. So I'm going to push it out to my left. And you can do it by hand, but pliers make it a little bit easier. Then I'll use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove some of the screws holding on the front panel. I'll zip out these 3 here at the top. And then there's a bunch of them on the front underneath the door. So I'll open up the door and I'll remove all these ones that are holding on the front panel. Got 2 here near the filter housing. And you want to take note that some of these are not sharp pointed but flat pointed with finer thread. They're machine screws like this one and the one above it. And you got to make sure you put these machine screws back into these holes when you're doing your reassembly. The screws just look different.
Put them in the pattern that they came out.
Take out that one.
Isn't that fun? You make sure you get the right ones back in.
And then there's one here in the upper right hand corner. Get that one out. I think that's it. We should be able to lift off the front panel. So I'll close the door and I'm going to lift up by about 1/4 inch and then pull the top of it toward me. And then the bottom of the front panel is on 3 clips, so I just lift that off. And I'm going to remove these screws, Phillips head screws, from the filter housing. There's 3 of them. And I'll pull out the filter. Move this one in the left-hand corner and then the right-hand corner. And undo this electrical connector. Separate that, and then to get the bulkhead off, I've got to remove 4 more screws. Just took off the filter housing, clean that up too. I'll remove these 4 screws. These are all Phillips head. And then once those are out, I can lift the bulkhead off. I can lift up by about 1/4 inch and then pull it toward me. And the wheels that are supporting the tumbler are still going to be active on the tumbler, so I have to kind of wiggle this off of the tumbler. There we go. So now I'm going to reach in underneath on the right and left hand side. I'm going to undo the belt by pulling the either wheel to my left and then sliding it off of the motor pulley. And I'll use the belt to help lift the spin basket or tumbler out of the cabinet. And now it's going to be really easy to replace the heater assembly. So I'm going to take a Phillips head screwdriver, take out just 1 screw right here in the front, and I'm going to use my pliers to pry off basically all these blue wires. One here on the heating element, one here on the thermostat. I'm sorry, the high limit. And I think there's one here. Pry those off. And now I can lift up and it'll just come right out. Once I get it out, I'm going to clean up that area a little bit to get rid of any lint that might be hanging out. Get some of this burnt lint out of here. If you have a little shop vac or a vacuum cleaner, that'd be great to clean that up. Okay, to put in the new one, I just slide it in here and just let it sit down on this bracket. There's a little slot it'll fit in right where my finger's pointing. Add that Phillips head screw, and then it's pretty much in there and done, except I have to hook up some wires. So you hook up this one to the front on the heating element. Hook up this blue one to the high limit terminal there in the back. Gotta make sure they're on there really securely. And it actually comes with a few wires when you get it, and it shows you how to hook up. There's a black wire and a blue wire they have to hook up, but it shows you on the directions. And I'm going to change the thermistor, so I took off the connection. I'm going to undo 2 Phillips head screws here on the blower housing, kind of near the motor. This is the black thermistor that should register about 11 ohms when cold. And I'm going to put on a new one, put it in position, and then add the Phillips head screws. So I got to clean up this motor too before I seal it back up because the motor's pretty dusty. 2 Phillips head screws hold it in. And they also give you a new high limit for the blower housing that we can replace while we're there too. I'll put that power connector back on, pull the power connector off of the high limit, and then zip out those 2 screws. And here's the new high limit. Again, it comes with the kit. The kit's pretty cheap. I think it was $60. Zip in the new high limit, and then put the power connector back on. And once we get that on, we should be ready for reassembly. Just want to do a little bit of cleanup too. So I got like a brush to clean out all the dust here. And again, a vacuum cleaner with a small attachment would be great. If you get all this lint off of the motor won't overheat. So now we're going to put the tumbler back in. We're going to make sure it sits really securely on its back 2 support rollers. And then we can put the belt back on. We'll put the belt back into the same position where the old one was. You can use that same mark and rotate it a few times, make sure it's sitting right where the old one used to, then reach in underneath with both hands, your left hand, right hand, and your left hand's going to pull the idler wheel to the left, and your right hand's going to loop the idler wheel over the motor pulley. And then once it's on, you're going to spin the tumbler a few times to make sure the belt is securely on there before you finish reassembly. Because if you don't get this right and you put it back together, it might slip off. So you want to make sure you can do a few turns where it does not slip off. There we go. Putting the bulkhead back in, we're going to get the wheels underneath the tumbler. Then we're going to lift it up slightly, and these little catches are going to fit into the cabinet on all 4 corners. And then we'll add those Phillips head screws to hold it on. Sped up the video a little bit. There we go. We're going to hook up this modular connector in the bottom right hand corner. Put put the filter housing back on. It goes in from the bottom and then you lift up. There we go. We're going to add those 3 screws that hold it on. Got it. Put the filter back in. Now we can do the front panel. Put it on the 3 clips on the bottom first, set it down on the clips, and then we're going to close it up. And we'll go ahead and do that connection for the door switch. Push that in, and then push it all the way to our right so it's really in there secure. And that's the machine screw, one that's not pointy, that has a flat end and finer threads. Same with that one, machine screw. Definitely sped up the video on this part. That one, upper right hand corner. We got these 2 down by the filter housing. There we go. All right, we got 3 more screws we want to put in at the top. One there, one in the middle, one on the right. Those tight, and we're going to close the lid by about 45 degrees to relieve some of the pressure on these wires. And we're going to get the wires to go back into their connectors that hold them in position. Get that last screw on. Close the lid part way. And we'll get those wires back into their
inside. I was wondering
holders,
why we're here,
and then we can just
when it's locked, it makes
close
sense.
the lid, and it'll lock into position.
That's kind of a weird design, because when you open it up, it should allow it to open it easily without putting stress on the wires.
So if your dryer isn't heating, it doesn't mean it's the element. You want to check a lot of things first, like make sure that the breakers are both on. Make sure the belt isn't broken. If the belt's broken,
and a lot of times
it actually won't even start.
I think they used to think of that
So
more.
if you've ruled everything else out
times
and
it's more, we're just
everything's
gonna
telling
put it
you
away.
it's the heating element, this is pretty easy to change it. So now we're just going to push the dryer back in and plug it back into the 220 volt outlet.
Yeah.
There we go.
Really?
Try to get the dryer vent tube to have as
Great. They were
few
brand new? Oh, used one. Okay.
turns in it as possible, so we're going to get it in there really tight.
Yeah.
All right, turn it on. And we got some nice heat. So thanks so much for watching. Hopefully this helps you with your Samsung too. Thanks so much for watching our video. We really appreciate your support. And when you get a chance, please press the subscribe button below so you can be subscribed, and also the notification bell so we can send you more videos about appliance repair. Please also give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you really liked the video and it really helped you, please press this new applaud button and you can show your support and also get a nice clapping hands for your video. Thanks again.